Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Looking for Love. We are about to go in. Is everybody really looking for love? Are y'all ready for love? Or are y'all just in love with the idea of being in love? So, welcome. My name is Trey Kearney. I'm a certified life and relationship coach. If this is your first time seeing me here, welcome. I'm gonna let my co-host introduce himself.
Lamar Hall, just a guy who's worked and healed on himself.
A guy who's worked and healed on himself. So if this is your first time tuning in, we are here to just talk all about love and Generation X. The misses, what's missing, what's not missing, why Generation X men are dating younger women, why Generation X women are dating younger men, what is the miss between Generation X and Generation X men and Generation X women. So tonight we're going to have a whole lot of conversation. First, I wanted to start with Lamar, do you think people are really looking for love, or do you think they're in love with the idea of being in love? I think for women, like, we really are in love with the idea of being in love and not really putting in the work to maintain a relationship. A lot of women, I'm not going to say all, but I can't speak for men. I just know that we're in love with the idea of being in love.
I think it probably depends. That's probably an age specific question because I think as men mature, they start to evaluate what's important in life and they will look for love. It's just hard to say. It's a lot out there. It's a lot of people say they do and they're not willing to put in the work. But I think when each individual is ready to put in the work, yes, I think everybody is looking for love.
I think people say they're looking for love, but when you think of what love is, for me biblically, when you think of what love is, like, love is patient, love is kind, it does not boast, it does not brag, it's long suffering. Love does not keep records of wrongdoing. Like, I think people are really in love with the thought of being in love again, until you, like you said, to a lot of people do work on themselves and then they want to find an equal partner who is, because I really think love is just based on a high level of respect.
True.
Right? I think that's when somebody truly loves you, there's this high level of respect, and there is patience, and there is kindness, and there is, forgiveness, and there is, second chances and all those other things. I just really think that a lot of women, and I know the women, they be getting mad at me because I'll be speaking from my past experience and the truth about us as women, that we have this fixation on being in love and not actually working within the relationship. Like, we want what we want. Because you said something and the women were like kind of sort of mad at you as usual because you be saying stuff. You said that, no, seriously, they be getting mad at you.
Yeah.
They be mad at you over on TikTok. They be mad at you. I got to share some of the comments over there. You got to come over on TikTok.
Okay.
I got to defend you over there. I'll be ready to fight. Like, yo, you're not going to be talking to my brother like that.
What I do?
I'm going to tell you in 1 second. I got some stuff written down for you to answer.
Oh, okay.
But, the women were mad because you said a woman should be willing to please her man, and you need to know what he wants and you need to do what he wants, right? Remember you said, a woman is with me, she needs to know what I want. And the women was like, well, he needs to.
Yeah, I might maybe taken out of context, but it's study your partner. And it's a door that swings both ways. It's like, learn your partner, learn their habits, learn their wants, their needs, their desires. So if you truly care about them, that's what you should. I'm just speaking from a man's point of view, but it does apply to both in most cases.
Right.
So I mean, like when we were talking about the dating, multiple, people stuff, that's not just a woman thing. So it gets men in the uproar. It's a thing it should be practiced by both. So,
but it's been practiced by men for thousands of years. That's why men are winning. They've been dating multiple people, and not wrong. Like,
it's not wrong. I mean, you chewed on it for about a week a week or so, and you was like, you know what, it actually makes sense. So, I mean, it just truth. I'm going to stand on truth all the time. So, I just, tell the truth, man. And see where the chips fall, and go from there.
I did have to chew on it for a minute because when I first heard you say it, no, seriously, because as women, we have been programmed that we are supposed to be dating one person at a time, or we're supposed to be with one person at a time, which is true. when
True.
we're in a committed relationship.
True.
But we've brought that over into the dating pool where we're dating one person at a time, where nobody's committed to anything. And for me, it was an eye-opening moment when you said it, to say to myself, men are dating multiple women all the time, and they're not cheating. They're not in a committed relationship.
Right.
And again, we as women, we get it twisted. We commit immediately when somebody likes us, right? We just commit. We committed to, like, I've been on a date with him for 2 weeks. We committed. We not talking to nobody else. And I think it just ruffled the men's feathers because you gave out game that we actually needed to hear. And it took some of the women too. It was a lot of women too that was like, I'm not about that life and blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, well, I thought about it and I'm about that life now. So,
So immediately when you say something like that, the first thing people think is sexual. You say, oh, it's physical. No, that was taken out of context. That's not what it is about. It's about dating somebody. You know, if you are dating a man and, you know, he doesn't like going to the museums and you love it, then you should probably find somebody to go to the museum with, you know. And it's like, I don't understand until both people sit down and say, I want to date you. Do you want to date me? And we're going to be exclusive. Until that conversation happens, hey, it's free reign. Go, you know, date who you want to date.
But you don't think sometimes it's just a natural occurrence that we're dating and then it's just us? Or do you think, I think now at this age now, I certainly now think a conversation needs to be had, but I haven't always thought that way. I always, you know, I've been in relationships that just, we went from talking to being in a relationship. Nobody said, you my girlfriend, I'm your boyfriend. We just went and we just assumed that we were in a relationship. But I just think at a certain age, they're like, we're talking about Generation X. If you just you're tuned into Looking for Love. And our conversations are geared toward the grown crowd, Generation X. And I just think that I've learned along my journey to know that we're exclusive before I assume anything, and I cut off all of my
potentials.
Right. Potentials. That's a good word for it. Yes. Potentials. Yes. Because like you said, if you don't like to go to the museums or you don't like to go to whatever the case is, and I like to do those things, and there's somebody else that likes to do those things, why shouldn't I go? You ain't my man.
Right.
Unless I'm assuming that you're my man, and that never works out well for anybody.
When you're younger, you have a lot of time to guess and play and all that other stuff. When you get our age, it's not about, you got to communicate. So it really comes down to it. Do you want to be with this person or you don't want to be with this person? You just communicate it. And I think you have to sit down and have that for both people to really take it serious at this age. You know, it's just, you know, we don't have to, we talked about it. No, nobody has time to waste. Don't waste my time.
Right.
You know, are you interested? You're not interested. And some of it may seem like it's moving really fast, but again, we're older. You don't have time to play. I don't have 2 or 3 years to give you to try to figure this out and then find out we're not compatible and I got to start over again.
Right. So again, it's okay. Let me ask this from a male perspective. Like, I'm on a date with you and I'm sitting across from you and I'm like, where is this going? Or what's the limit of me scaring you off or me doing too much? Because women are afraid we're doing too much, right? So we don't want to waste time and wait to find out we're not compatible. So what's the thin ice skating? Like, I just need to know, I know something like, do you smoke, or like, what are we asking?
How soon are we? Is this date 1 or a date?
This is date 4.
I think it's fair to ask, you know, at that point, like, what are you really wanting? How are you feeling about, you know, it feels like an interview at times, but just like, hey, am I what you want? Are you interested? But you have to be taking roll call all the way up to that time too. Are you guys talking on the phone daily? Are you how often are you seeing each other? You know, if this has transpired for a couple of weeks and y'all talk every other day or 2 or 3 times a week, you know, hey, there's a probability that he's talking to somebody else.
Yes. Oh.
So,
or maybe he's just a busy man.
You make time for what you want.
Did y'all hear that, ladies? I'm just saying. No, I'm having these conversations in my head because people say if you want a man that can provide, or if you want a high value man, you're gonna have to accept a busy man. Where's the level of where do we draw the line? Y'all know, ladies, I'm gonna ask questions for us, and you can ask questions about women too. Where do we draw the line of how often he's calling, or you ain't that busy that you can't pick the phone up? Because then men get turned off, like she tripping because I really was busy. So how do we even make that distinction before we look like the crazy psychopath?
Okay, so are you getting good morning texts? Are you getting just a rant? You don't have to talk all the time. Are you getting a good morning text? Are you getting a good night text? Are you getting, hey, I was thinking about you text, or just random stuff like that? That's how you engage a little bit when you don't have time to talk that much. Because I travel for work, I do things too. But if I'm interested in somebody, it's just as simple as a text. It's like, it doesn't require sitting on the phone for hours talking to get to know somebody. It could be, let's talk, when we talk, and then we text when we can. And that's the engagement. Now, I'm not going to give away all the guys' secrets on here, because then I got to look over.
No, we need this. No, this is not secrets. Like, no, this is really like, this is not about secrets. This is really about me and you having a conversation. And we're going to ask each other stuff. We're going to talk about from the female and the male perspective, because we're trying to make the connect of why Generation X love is dead. Because we're having some serious disconnections with Generation X. The younger generation, they're getting married. Like younger people are getting married. I'm noticing like 22-year-olds and 25-year-olds getting married. And I'm like, something's wrong over here in Gen X land. And we have to have these conversations. And most of the conversations that are being had online with relationship podcasts are turning Black men and Black women against each other, or is saying, well, Black men are doing this and Black women are doing that. And it's not bringing unity, and it's not bringing resolve. So we're not here to tell secrets. We're just really here to have real conversations about what Gen X men need and what Gen X women need in order for us to have healthy relationships. People are telling us, I saw a podcast where somebody said, you shouldn't tell a man what you want, because he's going to use it to manipulate you, and he's going to do exactly what you want him to do until he gets you. And I'm like, no, I need to tell this person what I want in order for them to do the right thing. And we talked about this a little bit, right? Because you said, when we go out, sometimes we talk about our exes, and the woman the woman who is grown and mature won't have a problem with you talking about your ex, to learn about you. And then there's someone that, oh, you talk about your ex all the time. So let's talk a little bit about drawing a line where we talk about our ex, and drawing a line where, are we supposed to tell a person what it is that we need as a woman? And I'll tell you, as a woman, I need the man to tell me what he needs as a man. I need to know what you need. I'm not going to use it against you like, oh, he told me she don't cook, so I'm going to cook 7 days a week. I'm not going to take it into that. I'm going to tell you the truth. Like, I don't cook that much either.
Right.
I'll cook, but I'm not about to flip and do stuff that you're telling me because the other woman didn't do it, because I got to be true to myself.
I think the honesty part of it is that, you need to tell somebody what you're looking for, what you require, what you want, but that's back to you, that you've done, your flags, hey, I don't smoke. So, okay. So that should be said, sooner than later, and so on and so on, as they are a level of importance to you and could be the detriment of the relationship. So
right.
You have to look at those red flags, and then on the vice versa, the green flags. It's like, okay, what are they doing well? And let that person know, man or female, let them know, I like when you do this.
Oh.
So it's like, okay, so, she likes that. Okay, cool. Or he likes that, and when I meet a woman and she's feminine, I let them know. It's like, man, that's very attractive to be feminine, because not a lot of women have that persona anymore.
Oh, let's talk about that, because that's on my list of things to talk about.
Okay, all right.
You see, in my head, that's why we do this. That's why we do this. So, alpha females. I saw this video where they were talking about, this woman was like, I'm an alpha female, and I'm like, God, I'm not in the bucket with them, because they messing. I don't know. God is I believe in the Lord. I have to tell God sometimes, like, I didn't never say I didn't need no man, because the other day we had a snowstorm. We had a bad snowstorm. I was outside, my hands was frozen. I had to clean my car off. I had to shovel the front of it out so the condo association could come and plow. And I was standing out there and I was actually talking to God. And I was like, God, I'm not an alpha female. I don't know what an alpha female is, but is she shoveling heavy snow? Because if she
what she would say is, I make enough money and I'll call somebody to come shovel it for me. Okay, you could do that too. But the whole thing is there's no such thing as an alpha female, because that just means to me she hasn't run into the right man.
Oh.
So if you run into a man who's done the work on himself, the man that is confident and has a plan for you, you will naturally submit. It's just, that's just in your DNA. It's just what you, we can talk about. I'm not that diverse in the Bible, but what I do know is women came from my rib. So
I know that's right, Adam.
so how can you be alpha if you came from me? You are my support system.
So, wait a minute. You about to get shanked, brother. They about to come for you on that one. But it does say that. Now, I'm going to tell you from the Bible, because you know I love the Lord. It does say that we are the man's helpmeet, that we are there to assist and help. And there's certain roles and responsibilities that we have. But one of the problems that a lot of women have is that the man is not handling, the man ain't shoveling the snow. Like, yo, dude, like, again, I'm not an alpha female. I don't claim to be one. I'm not a modern woman. I'm a traditional woman, but life, let's just say life makes you do modern things, right? So we know some stuff is just a natural occurrence because you don't have no choice. Because I'd be a traditional woman and I'd be barefoot and pregnant and in the kitchen and raising my kids. And now that I'm 54 and I see what that could look like so many women think barefoot, pregnant, in the kitchen, your husband taking care of it. So many women shun that. But if you sit and think about it, running a house is a business. Like really running a home with kids and schedules and shopping and cooking, you really are running a business. And for a man, an alpha male, a man who comes in and does what he's supposed to do, taking care of that home, y'all have a good relationship and you're actually thriving in a business. Because we talked about this before, right? We said in a corporation, somebody's the CEO and somebody's the COO. Somebody's the executive assistant and somebody is the mailroom. Everybody got to know their roles in order for anything to thrive. So you was about to say something.
No, it is the whole alpha thing. That is something that women have been fed, in particular, Black women have been fed this. So it's like, yeah, y'all don't need a man. I don't know another race that does that. It's like, why are Black women the only women that take pride in being the boss and being, by themselves, and I can do it all bad by myself? You're supposed to pick a partner, but it requires you, when you pick a partner, you got to pick them for the right reason. If you don't know the reasons, you're going to continue to pick bad partners. So if you've been in all these bad relationships, when have you got to the point that you looked at and go, what am I doing wrong?
I'm the common denominator. I had that conversation with myself. Like I've had that conversation with myself. I sat and I thought about, I really only had 3 serious relationships in my life that was really like, I was in a relationship.
Same.
And I was able to actually look at myself. And we talked about this a little bit backstage where I said, I was raised by wolves. Okay, my mother and my aunties, let me tell you something. They grew up in survival mode. They grew up taking care of themselves. They lost their mom at 15. So, my grandfather, I told you, was a womanizer. So they were trying to fend for themselves. They lived in the projects. So when they got old enough, they were like 16, 17. They were like trying to get out of the house with their father. They were doing whatever they could to get out of the house with their father in order to be on their own, because they didn't want to deal with the situation, which it was other stuff that happened where they, there was some things when my grandmother died from pneumonia. They said my grandfather put her out. She got sick with no shoes on. A whole bunch of mess went on with them. So they were constantly in survival mode. And when men was around us, me and my cousins, my girl cousins, and even my boy cousins and my brothers, we saw women who were not alpha females. We saw women who were surviving females, surviving to feed their kids, surviving to be in relationships, failing in relationships because they didn't know how to talk to a man, failing in relationships. So that's who I was for a long time in relationships. Like I would talk to a man like, I don't gotta listen to you. I come home when I want. This is me being married. Like, what is you talking? It's like 4 o'clock in the morning. He's like, yo, and my ex-husband was really, it really, and still is. We have 2 children together, 2 grown boys. But he was really one of the calmest people. He came from a different, see, this is where we got to have these conversations. Because if he knew what he knew about me, he probably wouldn't have married me. Because he came from, listen, 100% real. We got to keep it real.
Yeah.
He came from a home with his mother and his father, and they were married till they both passed away. Wow. He had 6 brothers and 6 sisters. It was 13 of them. He was the oldest boy, and the father worked. The father took care of everything. The mother stayed home, cooked, cleaned, and was pregnant. They never missed a meal. The house was clean. The daughters was taught one way, the son. And he came from a place when I came into his life, he's like, I was like, don't be telling me what to do. So there were times when he was like, when my oldest son, when he was like 6, maybe 5 or 6, wanted to go eat in his room. And I was like, I ate in my room. We had mattresses on the floor, whatever. Yeah. We lived reckless. Like it was just people in our house. And he was like, no, we sit at the table and we eat and we have conversations and we talk about our day. And I was like, he could go in his room. When I tell you my boys are struggling now as grown men because of my input, because I did not want to listen to him, but I didn't know that then because I was.
You know what? Your boys will heal from that. They'll heal as they grow into men. But kudos to you for being accountability. And again, you don't take it lightly on how big accountability.
Oh yeah, yes, I've forgiven myself, but I just have to explain to people that women, we out here talking about we out for females. No, we broken. We live in like ma and grandma and auntie where there was never no men in the house. Big mama didn't have a husband. The daughter didn't have husband.
I'm your son. So I'm your son. I grew up in that household with nothing but women. So there were no men around. So it's me, my brother, and my cousin, and I'm the oldest. And it just as I got older, and I'm so thankful for sports because it put me in an arena with other men, and I saw grown men and fathers interacting with their sons a certain way. And then when my mom married my stepdad, he was such in the streets, so it didn't really count,
Wow.
Anything. So he, and they, he, womanizer and stuff like that, everything he did. So I remember as a young boy, I put together this fictitious man, because my father wasn't around, and I put together bits and pieces from coaches and teachers and girlfriends, fathers, and, how was a man supposed to be? And I just identified to go, these are some traits that I like, and that man doesn't exist. And I felt if I got as close to that man, that I would be a better man. And it didn't happen. I was emotional in my early to late 20s. And I had to go through this. And I helped. My brother went through a lot of it too. He's 5 years younger than me. And he was the one that kind of was if you want to say he's the black sheep of the family, but you look back on it now, he was just like, why am I listening to all these women trying to tell me how to be a man? And he was right. Maybe the delivery wasn't correct or, whatever the case may be, but he was correct in asking those questions. And it just took us longer to figure out how to be men, and then that's when I started my marriage started to really look and go, am I happy? Am I doing the right things? Am I going in the right direction? And I really made a 180 pivot and was like, I can't be this man no more, and that's, I think, unfortunately, I don't think anybody should be thinking about getting married until they somewhere between 32 and 35. You just don't know nothing about yourself. And you got to have experiences. You got to know what's good, what's bad. And I didn't understand that. I got married at 24 years old. So I didn't figure it out until my late 30s, and I'm looking like, is this it? And I think every man that gets married young has this, is this it moment? And me and my dad sit down and we talk about it because we have a good relationship now. We reconnected and we talk, and he talks to me as a grown man sharing his mistakes. And he takes accountability for it. And he's my friend. He's not my dad. He's one of my best friends because he's going to tell me the truth like it is. He's going to tell me things that I don't want to hear at times. And that's what you need. You have to have some friend that it's not gonna be candy coating stuff for you and be like, man, you need to get on your game. Like you're not. And that's probably the hardest part is that when you're a young man growing up in a household with just women, it's going to take you longer to figure it out. It just is.
Mm.
And I just believe that none of this is done.
Emotional.
Huh?
I said, don't make me get emotional.
No. I'm just saying that you have hope for him, and therapy helps. And that young man has to have experiences, and he will learn what's right from wrong. And sounds like your boys have a good father that they can probably rely on and talk to, that probably understands the roles that he played in the demise of the relationship as well. So no marriage or no relationship dissolves itself because one person did one thing wrong. It takes two people to do it. And we can dice up the numbers however you want to dice it, but until you look at yourself and go, what role did I play in messing this up? You're going to repeat over and over and over again.
You're going to go right to your next relationship and do the same thing. This is why we have to look in the mirror. And speaking about the men around you, that's another thing that's on my list. A man in a woman's circle. I was with dudes. I was with a couple of dudes. Maybe I shouldn't say because I've only been with 3 people. So these people going to know I'm talking about them because they know me.
Hey, call them to the table.
Anyway, I'm called right. No, because they have this mindset. You're a trouble. You such a troublemaker. You love this. You love that I'm gonna start getting some phone calls because they on your neck. Now you want them on my neck. I'm just trying not to incriminate people. But anyway, this is not to hurt anybody's feelings. But one couple of them. So the other 2. Anyway. All right, Lamar, bring it in.
Just give them the initials.
You already know, man. Everybody who's listening already know. But no, they have this mentality with their friends, the dudes that was around them, that if they brought another woman around or if they was cheating, like there was an instance with one of them and his boy was doing something he had no business doing, but I was aware of it. And I was like, yo, you need to have a conversation with him. And he was like, I just mind my business. And I'm like, so when I'm not there and you in the same predicament, he just mind his business. So that's what y'all do. So I was like, after that, I was kind of like leery of, like, so these dudes could come around you with another woman, and when I'm not around, this is the circle of people that you hang around, and you're not gonna say nothing to your boy. Like, yo, this is not cool. At least I'm with my lady. It's not cool. Because I'm not cool with it. You know what I'm saying? So how important, again, for me, if it was one of my girls, we hold each other accountable in my friend circle, in my core. Like I have 4 really good friends. We've been friends since we were 10, 11 years old. So we have 40 years of friendship. We hold each other accountable. And one of my friends, my very best friend, when I was cheating on my husband, she stopped speaking to me. Because she had a real conversation. Like she started dropping gems like, listen, I can't be like being your alibi. Like I'm not gonna be going and running around with you because I got my own relationship. Like you starting to bring trouble to my door. So she basically, separated herself from me. And I love her for that now because she loved me enough to risk losing me for a season to save me from myself. Like that's my girl.
It's a great friend.
Right. And I couldn't, at that point, I was like, mind your business. But she was like, well, if that's what it is, then I'm not, hey, you got to go. So what does that look like in a man's circle when a man says, oh, I just mind my business, he doing him?
I think in both scenarios, most people are going to mind their business. And I know from a man's standpoint, men do not want to challenge each other like that. When I was going through my divorce, my brother challenged me, and his whole key was be honest. I wasn't ready to be honest.
Right, but he challenged you.
He challenged me, and we didn't talk for 2 years for that. And I look back on it, and everything he said, he was right. And a lot of the stuff that he and I talked about are kind of the groundwork of my philosophy now.
Right.
Just like because he had that time period, because I would bring women, we lived together, he moved in with me, and I would bring women over and he'd be like, man, she ain't no good. And I'm looking like, how you know? She, you don't know nothing about her. But we go back to the thing. All I'm doing is making this decision off of aesthetics. I'm looking how pretty she is, and this is that, and just other stuff that wasn't. I knew nothing, and he was right later on, and that's why I said, until you stop making decisions with your eyes. And that woman brought something to me, and I looked at her and was like, "You gotta get out of my house." And my brother looked at me. He said, "Now you've grown. Now you're not looking at women with your eyes. You're feeling and seeing what type of person they are." And in the last 8 years being divorced, what I've learned is how quickly can I identify these red flags, and am I strong enough to walk away? Because sometimes I ain't even strong enough to walk away because whatever, sex or looks or whatever is just recently over the last 2 years. I was like, nah, I'm not doing that. And you walk away.
Right.
And that's when you really become powerful, because now you are in control of yourself. You're in control of your emotions. You know what's going on. You're not going to tolerate certain things. So anybody that continues to tell me, I just have bad relationship after bad relationship, now it's time for you to reflect on yourself. What are you doing to change that cycle?
Right.
Because like you said, the common denominator is you.
Yes.
So what are you not doing? You're not recognizing any red flags, or you're not walking away quick enough.
Oh.
That's the only two things.
Yep. I say that all the time too, Lamar. I tell people, they be like, I keep attracting the wrong man. I'm like, you're not attracting the wrong man. You're entertaining the wrong man for too long.
Yeah.
You attracting all different men.
And just for the shots fired, the same thing goes for a man. You have to look at a woman and say, if kids are involved, or there's a future like that, is this woman going to raise my kids? Does she want to be in the streets? Can she do the things that I need for my family? If that's how you're thinking. Now, if you guys are just hung up on looks and sex and things like that, that's what you're going to get. And that's what you're going to keep attracting. So, I challenged myself for the first time ever that I met a woman, and I told her, I said, I don't want to have sex with you. We waited almost 4 weeks. And she was like, what? I was like, I said, I want to get to know you. It's like, so it's like, I don't get led by that anymore. Those are not decisions. So until a man learns how to control his eyes and control his libido, you're going to make bad decision after bad decision.
But that's it. We got to say this, right? Because we like to separate men from women. We got to say this: until men and women start to control their eyes, because we talked about this backstage too, because women, we see a fine man, we lose our mind. I'm telling you, we see a fine man, we like, oh, he could get it. We see a fine man, we ready to throw it all in. So when we learn how to not be led by our eyes, or not be led by some good penis, because I told you, a lot of women out here, in relationships, because the ding ding is dinging, and they okay with, they like, listen, hey, I'm getting this. So until we stop thinking by our feelings and we start to think logically by facts, human beings, because we separate men and women a lot, and this is one thing I want us to talk about too, the separation of the needs of men and women, where I'm learning we have to start thinking about the needs of human beings in order for us to really gel together. Like being with a person who knows my needs as a human. Women want love. Men want love. Women want affection. Men want affection. Men want respect. Women want respect. Because everybody's like, oh, a man needs respect. Women want respect too. Like men's feelings get hurt. Women's feelings get hurt. We have separated men, and it started as children from our parents saying, boy, you fell down, get up, knee busted, knee stitches, don't cry, get up. But when a girl falls, it's like, oh my God, call an ambulance. We got to get her help. And this has grown us into something that has taken out the human aspect of that. We're all, if somebody came right now and stabbed me in my shoulder and stabbed you in your shoulder, the same exact thing gonna happen. If we don't get the help that we need, we're gonna bleed out.
Right.
The blood gonna be red. So we have to get out of that. Men need this more than women, and women, we need to understand that there's this human aspect that we all need in order to thrive in relationships. So All the time we're like, well, what does a man need and what does a woman? And we have all of these relationship gurus out here talking about all of this crazy nonsense, and it's just separating and dividing us when we all really are just looking for love.
True.
Like,
very well put.
We just
Very
all
well put.
we just want to be treated nice. just treat me nice.
It just blows my mind. You know, women, y'all have men chase women. They do. So I don't understand when women say, I can't find a man. What is it? What are you getting that's chasing you versus what you think you deserve?
Let me ask a better question. Is there a difference between, maybe the problem is not getting a man, the problem is keeping one?
Keeping them should be easy if you pay attention.
Getting them is easy.
Keeping them is easier from a man's standpoint, because you got to, if you create this safe haven where he can trust you. That's why I tell you all the time, men, trust means way more to men than love. So if he can trust you, and he can trust you in different aspects of his life, if he can, if he trusts you financially, if he can trust you with his emotions, he can trust you with his secrets, you create this safe haven for him to open up. And there's not a lot of women that know how to create that peace. So I would challenge women is like, do you know how to be peaceful for a man? Do you know how to make him feel comfortable? It's like, do some things. If women knew what other women weren't doing and learn how to do it, that's what intrigues men. So it's like, I told my daughter, she's 25 years old. I said, when you were younger, I tried to get you to watch football for one reason and one reason only, just to learn the basics of it, because it's so cool when a woman comes and sits down and watches a sporting event with her boyfriend or her husband. It's just because most women don't do that. And it's like, I can connect with this woman on something that I like. And if she becomes a fan, I thought one of the coolest things ever, my brother and his second wife, they used to do fantasy football together. And it just changed the whole dynamics of their marriage on how they watch football together. And that was just their little time. And she took that opportunity to go, this is what he's interested in, and I'm going to run with it. And they had a great friendship. Now, you got other issues, but that part of it, they were friends. And I think sometimes we lose the aspect in relationship of how can we be each other's friend? It's like, you can't share a life with somebody if you don't have the same interests or like the same things or want to do the same things or have the same goals and aspirations. So identify those things and then figure out, how can we expand on this? If your man's a crazy sports fanatic.
Yes.
You know it.
Yes, and don't bother.
Do you just sit on the couch and scroll on your phone, or do you go in the other room, or the woman that comes to sit next to him and she puts on her jersey and go, "Let's go, baby! Team's playing today." That's a totally different experience.
It is. It is.
And that's what I'm saying. There's three different scenarios, three different women, and I guarantee you, the woman that's interacting with her man, watching that sporting event, they got a better friendship.
Wow. I know one of the guys that I was with, he was a sports fanatic, and I knew sports already a little bit, but just being around him and just being able to, just that I knew he enjoyed football and basketball so much, I just got involved with it. But the bad part about it was, because the bad part gonna come tomorrow. These people gonna watch this and know I'm talking about them. The bad part about it was, when we broke up, I didn't watch football and basketball for years because it was a trigger for me, because it was his thing. So when, and I adopted the teams that he liked, so they were my teams too. They became my teams because I watched football from the when we first met. So I was a crazy fan of the teams. So after we broke up, I was secretly, because I knew how much he loved the game. I knew he was like a sore loser. Like, I knew. So every time I would see a game, I had to stop watching it because it was negative energy. I would pray that the team would lose, because I would know that he would be suffering. I would be like, I hope they lose. I'd be sitting there watching against my own team.
What was the demise of your relationship?
Cheating. He cheated. He was a cheater.
Okay.
So
if you went back to that man and asked him why he cheated, why do you think most men cheat? I'm not going to say, this is just, why do you think most men cheat?
I think most men, I think people cheat because of a level of immaturity. I think most people, I think all people cheat because because of immaturity, right? And I just think we put excuses in to make up why we did what we did, to have an excuse instead of just being accountable. But the reason why he cheated, see, now we all up in my business right now.
I'm gonna share my story with you in a minute because I have
What we doing, but because he felt like, and this was on my part. It was a lot on my part, and I was accountable. We had a conversation. He felt like he can never live up to my ex-husband because my ex-husband was never out of the equation because we had 2 boys and our relationship was peaceful. And his relationship with his ex, because we cheated on our spouses with each other. And his relationship with his ex became terrible because she was bitter, angry, and had every right to be. I can't judge the sister, but she was bitter, angry. But me and my ex, we got past that. And he made sure that my boys were okay, which in turn made sure that I was okay. So whenever he'd ask me to do anything, and I don't mean physical, but whenever he asked me to like drive the boys to him or whatever, I would do it. And my ex thought that I was being, he thought I was doing too much. Like anytime he asked you to do something, I was like, because this man works all the time. Why wouldn't I accommodate him by driving my sons to him when I'm not doing anything? It has nothing to do with us romantically. This is just good co-parenting for me. But as we talked, I understood why it affected him the way that it did. Because
and I'll give you a male's perspective. So I'm curious on women. So why did you cheat?
Why did I cheat on my husband?
Mm-hmm.
Because he was a workaholic, and I got married when I was 21, right?
Okay. I got married at 24.
Yeah, I never knew what I wanted to do. I went straight from my mother's house. I met him when I was 17, going on 18. I went straight from my mother's house to his house, my ex-husband. He was really a great provider and protector, but here's the thing. He was 10 years older than me. So he was mature in the space where I am now. Now I get it. Now a provider and a protector. He was doing what he was supposed to do. Back then I didn't get it. I'm like, you're a stick in the mud. You don't ever want to do nothing. You know, we had a house, we had a pool. Like I had Escalades, but those weren't the things that I wanted. I was lonely. I wanted his time. And then this person came in a crack in the door and was fun and exciting. And I got caught up in the matrix, and that was it.
Do you have, not regrets, but have you, obviously you've put it to bed and you've made peace with it.
Right. But I did have regrets. Yeah. I have regrets.
I mean, those are the perils when you're an older man that dates younger. And I've dated, I dated as great as 20 years. And I was married, I cheated. And similar, I was with the young lady that I left my wife for and caused a lot of turmoil. But the reason I cheated was the lack of being in my world. You took zero interest in anything I wanted. I didn't feel wanted, and it was just like, is this it? And you have women that are okay with it, and women, when I was married, women didn't have a problem with being married and cheating, and that's unfortunate. Right. And it just, you look back on it and you go like, you know what? I told some people, I said, I should have been man enough to walk away from the marriage, work on myself, and then do it. But I used it, and I apologize to the young lady that I dated. She's
right. Listen. This is what I'm saying. When people ask me, Trey, why do people cheat? Like you said, people say you should have been mature enough to walk away. I wasn't. That's why people cheat, because people are not mature, whether it's in communication, whether it's in finances. There's an area in that relationship where you're just not mature. Right. I wasn't mature in my marriage to articulate to my husband what I needed, even though his part was, he was absent. Like and to this day, he still works. Like, that's it. He's a worker.
What's his relationship like now? Is he dating somebody? Is he married again?
Oh, I don't be in people's business like that. I don't know.
You don't know? Well, I'm just saying, your boys, have they met a new girlfriend? Is he married? Or
no, not that I know of.
Okay.
My boys are grown, so.
You probably scarred him.
I did not. We talked. Like, he was the person that allowed me to forgive myself. Because for a long time, I lived in a prison of guilt. Because when my ex cheated on me, and I felt the pain that I caused my ex-husband and his ex-wife, I felt so guilty because I knew how it felt. I felt worse that I caused them that pain than him cheating on me, because I couldn't believe that I did that to somebody. You understand what I'm saying? So when I had a conversation with him one day, many years ago, I was really like, I couldn't like really get myself together because I couldn't get past the fact of what I had did. He said to me, he said, I forgive you. He said, because you are a good person that made bad decisions. He said, you've always been a good person. You're a good person. You just lack decision-making skills, right? He said, you just make bad decisions. And I mean, I've grown from then, but that clicked something in my mind when he said that to me. He said, you're a good person that makes bad decisions. I got a coach, and I learned how to, decision-making is a skill. Yeah. Problem solving is a skill. And I came from a home where I did not have life skills, period. And that's what I learned through coaching. You don't have decision-making, problem solving, critical thinking, communication. You lack every basic life skill under the sun, boo. You're not going to be successful in life. You're not going to be successful professionally or personally because you don't have skills to even be in a professional environment to run a business. All of these skills, how you do one thing is how you do everything. True. So I had to really look at myself in the mirror. When he said that to me, something clicked in my head. He said, you're a great person. You've always been a good person that makes bad decisions. And he said to me, that's going to be your downfall if you don't get it together.
Wow. He sounds like a good dude.
He really is.
I mean, it shook you to the core, and you made the necessary changes, and you took the accountability and did the work on yourself. So, I mean, we all...
It's like your brother. You have that Rubik's Cube, that puzzle piece, and you're like, oh, shoot.
Yeah, I mean, listen, at some point, we all hit that crossroad and go like, listen, I got to make a change. And if you don't have that, then you're way lost, more lost than you can even imagine. So, when things aren't going the way that you want, that if you feel that you made bad decisions or you deserve a different life. And then if you do that, then make the necessary changes. Stop doing the same thing over and over. That the definition of insanity is doing the same thing, thinking you're going to get a different result.
Yep. And that's what clicked in my head. And I tell people, and I just thank God for my journey because of the things that I do now, right? Because of the life coaching that I do, the relationship coaching. I'm a certified life and relationship coach. I've helped many families heal from the devastation of infidelity based on the trickle down that I saw in my family. And I'm able to say to people, like one of my talks that I do when I go talk on platforms, when I do different events, is you're not your biggest mistake. You are your better choices. If you don't like where you are, just simply make better choices. And that's the message that I give to women and men all over the world when I'm speaking. And another thing my mother told me many, many years ago when she was sick and dying. And my mother basically knew what was going on because all this was happening while my mother was sick. And I was moving. It was a lot of craziness. But my mother looked at me on her deathbed and she was like, you know what, Tracy, that's my government, Tracy. Call me that. I'm gonna know you either a bill collector or something. So don't call me and say Tracy because I'm hanging up on you immediately. The government, and I ain't doing it. But she looked at me and she said, Tracy, I'm gonna tell you this. I know if you're not happy, do something different. But she said, listen to, if you don't remember anything else I tell you, it's never too late to make a U-turn. You're going in the wrong direction. Yeah. It's never too late to make a U-turn. And so many people continuously go in the wrong direction instead of just simply saying, I just need to make a U-turn. I just need to stop and get some direct. Remember back in the day, your father and mother had to stop at the gas station to get direction. Sometimes you just need to stop and just be like, you know what? I really need to stop and I need to go. We just keep going the snowball effect, the snowball getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Yeah. And we ain't got sense enough to stop until the right person comes along. So we just really have to, as human beings, in order to have healthy relationships, being healthy starts with you.
It always starts with you. And I think we've led with that. We touch on it, frequently. And it's accountability. It's not lying. It's doing the work, going to find out the areas that you're weak and why you keep making these bad decisions. and having a good support system. Is it, you gotta have real good friends. They're not just there just to gossip. They're not just there to tell you the nonsense. It's like, I wish in my marriage that my ex-wife had one friend that was single to go, girl, you don't want to get back out there.
Right.
Go work on that.
Right.
It's like, what did he do? Oh, listen, you can fix that. And it's just like, we dissolved a 25-year relationship over my infidelity, but my infidelity came from her lack of showing any interest.
Right.
And I mean, I was just like, so I cheated. I can say that. I've had 2 relationships after that, didn't cheat.
Right.
Had no reason to, because my needs were being met. I had these women that were interested in things I'd like to do. They're interested in sports. They're interested in everything I like doing. So it's like, I wasn't lacking in any place. So yeah, I shed that cheater thing. Like, oh, once a cheater, always a cheater. No, it ain't. I just cheated on you. I just cheated on you for what you didn't do. And it's unfortunate, but I wasn't even mature enough to even communicate truly what I needed. I just knew I wasn't getting something.
And I just want the people who are listening right now, because there's going to be so many people, I already know what they're going to say to you. You can't blame her for cheating. He's not blaming her for cheating. But I always say this, and I'm going to say this again till the day I die. Cheating is a symptom of a bigger problem in the relationship. It's just a symptom. It's like if you have the flu is the bigger problem. The runny nose is a symptom. Mm-hmm. The watery eyes is a symptom. The achy body is a symptom. Until you get the antibiotics to get to the flu, those symptoms are just from a bigger problem. Same thing with marriage, cheating, lying. All of those things are just a symptom of a bigger problem. You got to get to the root of the problem in the marriage, in the relationship, to say, this thing is happening by cause and effect of this. And no, we're not blaming people, but there is going to be some consequences to your actions if you're not sleeping with your husband for months. There's going to be some consequences to your actions if you're not paying the bills and your wife is killing herself to help you pay the bills. She's going to start looking at old boy who is equipped to pay the bills, and she's going to start disrespecting you. So those things are a symptom of a bigger problem. So she cheating on you because you're not taking care of the house. You're not leading well. Everything that shows up in our marriages and our relationships, we have to be accountable for the fact that it's just a symptom to a bigger problem. And until we both look in the mirror and own up to where that problem is rooted, this is not about blame. This is about solution. Blame causes guilt. Accountability causes growth. We just here talking about accountability right now. Listen, I cheated. I own that. I own it too. You own it. I own it. Oh. But the reason why, one, I was too mature to articulate what I wanted. And number two, there was a need that was not being met. And we're not blaming the person because maybe they couldn't even see.
Right.
But that's their work, not ours.
Yeah. I mean, and you just, listen, I've been divorced almost 8 years. So it's just like you do the work that you need to do. There's a lot of things I could have done different. But the root of it, the essence of the person, you just kind of look and go like, man, are we really aligned? Or is she really into me? And I started having those questions like, damn, I know she loves me. We've been together that long, but does she love me? I want somebody.
Right.
I told a guy one time, I said, listen, man, if you have never had the opportunity of a woman that looks at you in a sense that, I don't know, it's just a look, and she's just gazing at you like, I mean, if you've never had a woman look at you like that, you need to work on yourself. Because that's how she wants to view you. That's how she wants to look at you. If you don't see your woman staring at you and smiling at you and always touching on you and stuff, man, you got work to do on yourself, because she's not into it like that. And people are, oh, well, if you're together a long time, those things die down. Okay, yeah, we can agree to disagree. But if a man is leading correctly, that woman is just going to naturally just look at you in awe. And I've had the experience of, dating a couple of women that look at me like that. And it's a great feeling. It's an amazing feeling. But I know that it all started with me. It started with how the work I've done on myself. So they're just kind of looking like, wow, you know, like, I can't believe it. And I tell women that I'm interested in, don't believe anything I say. Judge me by my actions. But if my actions align to what I'm saying, acknowledge it.
Wow, acknowledge it. But that, like you said, when we've been in relationships for a long time, when your wife or your husband stops looking at you like that, when your wife or your husband stops touching you like that, when they stop engaging, that is the light on in your car. That is the check engine light, right? We take care of our cars.
Right.
Low tire pressure, check engine light, no oil, washer fluid low. These are the things that when our relationship car is suffering, we have to look at to say, you don't touch me like you used to. You don't talk to me like you used to. You don't look at me like you used to. Instead, we just ignore it until the car completely breaks down and you can't repair it and you have to go get a new one. You just blow the engine out and nobody wants, you know what I'm saying? Once the engine on the car is gone, you know that oil light been off for a long time. And you done blew the engine and you expect this person to want to be with you and they don't. We got a question over here. Hold on.
Let's hear it.
Hold on. He said, is it okay to stay with someone who cheats or ever even go back to them?
From a man? No.
No?
Because you've lost the respect. You know, and once a woman loses respect for you, it's hard. There's nothing you can do to get that back. There's nothing.
Wow.
You know, and I mean, each person is different, you know, and circumstances are what they are. But just from a man, if a woman, women don't cheat. You know, women, they do out of emotional. It's such an emotional connection when women cheat. So if that woman cheats and then now you're trying to work on it back, man, that's a tough one. I'm not saying it can't be done. It's just going to be difficult. And
is that because of a male ego, or is that because
I don't think it's ego. I think it just really comes down to the respect factor. I mean, I talk to a lot of women. I just like having conversations with women, and women just aren't cheaters. Just maybe the women I've talked to, they just
we're not basically, but we're
not cheaters. Women don't cheat. There has to be something grossly wrong, and you got to be looking like this man is fumbling bad, you know. And that's when you go, hey, you know, I'm gonna step out. You know, for the most part, especially, you know, I don't know if you've been together a long time. It takes a lot to push a woman to cheat, and if she cheats, you lost her.
I think it's possible just from the work that I do. It's possible to recover after infidelity. But if this is what I say to you, if you can't give a person a complete clean slate, it's not going to work. If you are forever going to not trust the person, be selfless and walk away, because you're going to not only torture the person, but you're going to torture yourself. And I do know people who have stayed together in relationships and who are thriving. And then I know people who tried to stay in relationships and they couldn't get past they couldn't give a clean slate. They were always worried. And it was like looking under floorboards and checking. If you're going to do all of that, just
every 2 weeks I heard, do you take that bitch here?
Right.
I'm like, man, are we working on this or what? Like, I can't stay and run through the mill every 2 weeks. So when you get a wild hair, you know, it's like, come on, nigga, like, no, listen, like, I said, man, listen, say you want me to forgive you on your time? Yeah, I'm gonna forgive you on my time. I'm like, okay,
right. But if you're working on it together, right? Like I worked with couples before, and we had an agreement, right? This is for the person who asked the question. We had an agreement when I was coaching them as a couple, and I said, do both of you want to work on this? First of all, that's the first question you got to ask. Is everybody 100% in? And they were. And I said, how long, to the wife who got cheated on, I said, how long do you need to talk about this? How long do you need to ask every question that you need to ask? 6 months, 1 year? How long do we want to work on this? And after that time period, you have to accept the fact that the affair is over. Right? You have to accept the fact that the affair is over. You cannot keep bringing this person up, because after 4 weeks, 5 weeks, 4 months, and your husband is not even thinking about this person, and you bring the person back into the relationship to remind him of her, you're never going to get over this. So they said, after 6 months, we're going to talk about it amongst ourselves. We're going to do that. They did a workbook and everything. And they said after that, if you still want to bring it up, then y'all have a hard decision to make. And I'm going to remove myself from the equation. Right? That's me as the coach. Y'all gonna, if y'all still talking about it, it's gonna be, you're gonna have to make a hard decision that this is what you're gonna accept for the rest of your life, that you're gonna wake up in the morning and be like, oh, you did such a, and you gonna, if that's what it's gonna be, both of y'all are gonna be miserable. And they worked through it and they're still together. And this was
she gonna make it, if he cheated on her, she is gonna make his life miserable.
No, they're thriving. This particular couple that I'm talking about, they made a conscious decision that they wanted their family to work, and they made it. She listened that he really made a bad decision, and she listened to that cheating was a symptom of a bigger problem.
Okay. So once you identify the bigger problem, you can fix that, and then everything else falls in line. Got it. Okay.
Right. They were able to say, I know I wasn't doing this.
Yeah, it's just I think society just makes it easy to give up.
Right.
And I said, I got some buddies of mine that may be going or contemplating, and I said, listen, man, divorce is not the first option; it's the last option. And I said, you gotta, especially when kids are involved and everything like that, and your friends, your family, your coworkers, everybody is invested, whether you believe it or not. And that divorce affects
everybody. Right.
And you got to fight for it, because you're going to have that moment where you're going to be by yourself. You're going to be in the dark, or your children are going to look at you. And, you want to be able to look at, I want to always be able to look at my daughter and go, I tried, I fought. I really, really, really fought to try to fix it. Now I'm the person in wrong, and she had every right to not listen, but I know that I tried. So when I walked away, and it was just like, but you can never accuse me that I didn't try. We can talk to her today. I tried. I think if she looked at it now and knew what was waiting for her out there, she wouldn't have did it. But I mean, that's hindsight, So you wish them the best, and you got to stand on what you got to stand on, and that's the whole thing is, man. I had a great life, but I just knew that I wasn't happy. I wasn't unhappy, but I wasn't happy, and I just was like, and everybody based things on material things. Everything. Oh, you got this house and car, man. Once that stuff becomes normal, man, material stuff it doesn't make you happy. It doesn't. And it's, you got to find somebody. You got to have some commonality. Be a friend. Be a friend first, man. It's like, before you commit your life to somebody, do you like this person? Do you really like being around them all the time? It's like that's a bit. And that's what I'm saying is that in your mid-30s, you start to understand it. You had enough interaction with people. My daughter's 25. If she came to me right now and said, I'm gonna get married, I'd be like, no, you're not.
Yeah, no, I don't. I mean, they're getting married younger and committing younger, but there's so much that you just don't know about you at that age. You just don't even know yourself. You really don't know yourself in your 20s. Like, you really don't. And then don't let a kid come into play. Like, you really,
everything.
Then you got to sacrifice your life for the kid, the life that you never had. Let's just say you got to sacrifice the life that you never had for your kids, for your marriage. And then you start to have these FOMO, fear of missing out. What did I miss out on? Who was I supposed to be? And all of that compiled on top of the responsibilities of life is a lot. It will make you make bad decisions. And especially if you don't have life skills. And I'm not talking about cooking and cleaning.
Right.
That's what we think life skills is from the hood. Our parents teach us these life skills: cook, clean, iron the clothes, get a job at the post office. Like, those ain't life skills. Okay. We don't want to die in the post office, or we don't want to die as a police, or, you know what I'm saying? No, like, really, those are like, get you a good government job and know how to cook, know how to clean your house. And nobody's like, okay, this is how you make a decision.
Right.
It's a whole skill. This is how you problem solve. This is the way, the pros and the cons. You got to do that. And it blew my mind again when I had that aha moment. I was just like, I never even thought about that. You know what I'm saying? You're a good person. You just make bad decisions. And of course, I'm out here in survival mode.
Right.
It all comes back down to the faulty blueprint.
Yeah. I mean, It starts with you. If anything is profound, it starts with you. So,
Yes. So our time, I can't believe we didn't get to our video.
Geez Louise, man, that went by too quick.
Went by too quick, man. You want to look at the video real fast?
Yeah, do the video.
Let's do the video.
If I were a woman, I would dismiss any man that came up with a conversation about 50-50 because he's lacking somewhere in terms of his masculinity. I don't think a woman should ever marry a man that does not have a mind to 100% provide for her. That 100% heart as a man, you have to simply clearly communicate where you're going to your woman so that she understands every day in and out that this is not where we're parking at. That's really the currency that a woman needs to stay motivated in a relationship with a man. The 50-50, it's not about the money.
It's not about the money.
It's mindset. And when women have an issue with 50-50, what they're subconsciously, they may not even realize it. They are upset about the fact that this dude is not showing up as a whole man.
That's real.
That's real. That's
That's
real.
real.
So,
Yeah.
Lamar, I want you to just talk about that really quickly because some of the men had a problem with that because they were saying that we live in different times and money and expenses and a woman. Just tell me what you think about what he said.
You like they said, it's not the last two guys. It's like it's not about the money. You gotta, and I think that's the hardest part for men to get away from is like all they hear through that whole thing is money. You know, it's like 50-50. No, it's about a mindset. It's about being able to show up with this woman and have a plan and be able to lead and be able to communicate to this woman what your future is going to look like. It's not about money. You know, it's hard to walk away from that. It's really about being who you are, having a plan, and leading.
I love it. I always think that any man that walks in the door, and this is one thing that I loved about my ex-husband, he was 100% man. Like it wasn't about money. He was 100% man about leading the family. And I think people, when they hear 50-50, they think immediately somebody wants to take something from me. No, a woman wants to give you the lead. And when you start talking that 50-50, it makes her lose respect. It makes her think that you're not capable of being 100% man. And it has nothing to do with only money, because how you do one thing is how you do everything. So if you 50-50 with the money, you 50-50 with the integrity. If you 50-50 with the integrity, you 50-50 with the character. So it's not about the money. It's the 50-50 mentality of I'm only 50% of a man.
Correct.
So
yeah. I know most men they're not gonna listen because our essence is of money. You know, it's just like if I have money, I can do things, you know, and it's if you challenge a man and go like, well, you want me to follow you, you can't even pay for everything.
Right.
It's not about that, you know, it's not about that. It's about having, like you said, having a plan, being able to communicate that to that woman, you know, so that's the hardest thing. I can see why men get upset about it. And those men need to look inside themselves and challenge themselves and do some work and go, what am I deficient in that I'm not leading in my relationships?
And for us, that was an older man, and that's the older mentality. And there's so many older men now who have adopted this modern era because it takes some of the weight off of them. But I tell you, women who are my age, and again, if you just tuned in, you're tuned into Looking for Love, and we cater to a Generation X older crowd. Women my age are looking for leadership qualities.
Right.
Period, point blank. And that means leadership qualities. You're at a space in your life right now, Lamar. You're how old? 40, 52?
I'll be 52, yeah.
You'll be 52 years old. You can sustain on your own. You don't need no woman to come in and pay 50-50 for you. So when she walks in the door, you're not like this. You know what I'm saying? So you're at a place in your life where we're looking at a man your age, like you should be totally set for life to some degree. And again, at whatever level it is, whether you're a butcher, a baker, a candlestick maker, whether you're a police officer, whatever it is, you should be maintaining a certain lifestyle for yourself. So when a woman walks into your life, you're able to lead, provide, and protect 100% as a man. Now, of course, if your girl come in and she chilling, she got a good job, she gonna kick in naturally.
Yeah.
Period. She ain't trying to come and be like, I'll put my money in the bank account. She
Yeah.
naturally.
That's the myth. And I think that social media makes women believe that if a man can't put you in this kind of house, or you can't drive this kind of car, you can't have these purses and all this material stuff. It's not about that. It's about the mindset. But the whole thing is that most women, when you meet a man that can give you all of that stuff, guess what? That comes with a whole nother set of problems, because he is not going to play with you and your attitude and you not submitting.
Oh,
that is a no nonsense thing. And,
did you say the S word?
Yeah, I mean, we can look at it. Look at it like this. I've dated younger women, and I could provide a lifestyle. I built a house for a woman one time, and guess what? If that woman thought she was going to come in and do the nonsense that she was doing, not under my roof, you're not. So it's just, you gotta ask yourself, are you really ready for that? Are you? Because a lot of women go, oh, I want to date an athlete, I want this and that. Those women are by themselves a lot. You have no idea how lonely them women are, but they got everything material. And then you start to realize material stuff don't matter, and you got to start looking for substance. You got to start looking for character. You got to start looking for leadership. Are you friends? It's a lot that comes with it. So, if you want that lifestyle and you're driven by material things, then if you get it, you'll learn in time. The material things don't do a thing. They don't mean anything.
They really don't. They really don't. Like once you get it,
once you get it and you've had it and it's become part of your lifestyle, you're like, I don't care what kind of car I drive.
Right.
But when you're younger and you come from similar backgrounds that we come back with not having a lot, you think those things are going to make you happy. And they don't. They really don't. And it's character. You got to start looking inside yourself and go, do you really know what making yourself happy feels like? It ain't having purses. It ain't going on trips. It ain't that.
And I say that I ain't never seen nobody snuggle up next to a purse. I ain't never seen a Benz visit you in the hospital. No, straight seriously. Like, I ain't never seen a U-Haul behind a hearse. Like, people don't realize, like, for me, it's never been material.
Right.
And that was, again, this is when we have to know love languages. I know we've gone over, but this is when you have to know a person's, the thing that moves them, right?
You know what I do when I went through a period when I first met a woman, I was sending the 5 love languages.
Oh.
Get on Amazon, I send it to them. Here you go. Do you know your love languages? No. Well, you need to read this book.
Right.
So when you start talking to women like that, they perk up. Like, hold up. Like, what's the last book you read? Do you know your love languages? You start talking to women like that, they're like, oh, hold on. And those are things to me that, like, you ain't did no work on yourself.
Right.
If you ask me my love languages, I rattle them off to you. I know exactly what they are. So
I know that's right.
I expect that from my partner. So if you're not going to do the work, that's just identifying my red flags immediately. Like,
yes. And we have to. And again, at our age, we just really don't have a lot of time for grown children, right? Like,
true.
At 40 and up, at this point, there's no excuse to not really have worked on yourself. And if you haven't, and somebody brings it up to you, most of the time, people who have not worked on themselves, when you bring it up, they get offended. That's when you know, let me just keep it moving.
Hey, I was going to say, keep it moving, buddy. Like, hey.
I understand. Some
people are projects, and you got to ask yourself. I told a young lady one time, I said, listen, you're like a house that needs to be renovated. And I don't have enough money or time to fix you.
Oh,
there's no benefit for me to do it. What's in it for me to invest all of this time to fix you?
Woo! Ain't no return on the investment. None.
And you walk away, and she's like, what we talking about? What? I said, exactly. You have no idea what I'm talking about. Good luck.
Yes, good luck and goodbye. If you just tuned in, you're tuned into Looking for Love. I'm Trey Kearney. This is my co-host, Lamar Hall. We come here every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the New You Nation Network YouTube channel. If you have any questions, comments, topics you would like us to talk about, please email us, trey@treykearney.com, and we will answer your questions, your comments. We will play your video. And that's it for tonight. We thank you guys so much for tuning in. This has been a rich conversation as usual. I know I'm gonna get some.
Yeah, hey, look, we take some calls. I want to hear people like,
okay.
Let's take some calls. Next time I want to hear some people really, see, if they're listening. It's like, where are you on your growth pattern is becoming the best version of yourself.
Yes, there's somebody on here. The comments. Somebody said that was meaty. Love it. Great conversation. Hold on. I need companionship, conversation, love, and time. Real talk. I'm tapping the screen for you, Trey. One and done for me. That man is on point. You on point, Lamar. Privilege has its responsibilities. Privilege has its responsibilities. Greetings. It's not about the material. Oftentimes the issue is not having the patience to work the plan and not rush the relationship stages. Yes, leadership. Hold on. The woman should ask a man, what are your plans?
Yeah. I mean, that's fair, but I mean, wrap it a little softer than that. But I mean,
wrap it a little softer.
don't do it on your first date, but there's ways to ask the questions that, if this person's for real, like I said, if you meet somebody, have you gone to therapy? And they're like, nah, I don't need therapy. Red flag, keep going.
Right,
so
right.
It's like, what would your last partner say good about you and bad about you? And what could you have done to fix the last relationship? I always ask them questions.
Wow. What would your last partner say about you, and what could you have done to fix the last relationship?
I could have every woman that I've dated come on here and they would not say nasty things about me.
That's excellent.
Because I just learned how to be honest. Now, my ex-wife went through a thing where she would have said nasty things, but now she's grown a little bit and her relationship's better. And she honestly can look and go, okay, I get it, and it takes that growth. But the two after her, they can't say nothing bad because they fumble. The woman I'm dating now, I tell her, women don't leave me. I leave you because you're going to do something stupid.
Whoa.
It's just the fact you're gonna mess this up. I tell women I'm interested in you, I like you, don't fumble. I'm not gonna fumble. The last woman I was with, I looked at her, I said, remember I told you told me you weren't gonna fumble? But guess what? You fumbled.
You fumbled the ball. Yep.
And I'm not saying this out of arrogance. They all come back and go like, I didn't understand what you were saying at that time, and now I understand. Okay, cool, got it. Thank you.
Wow. Okay, so thank y'all so much for tuning in. And I could say too, the last two guys that I was with can't say nothing bad about me because I was a great woman. So they fumbled.
Hey, it's a lot of fumbling out here.
I said what I said. So thank you so much, Lamar. We hope that you will tune in next Wednesday. Again, we are on the New You Nation Network YouTube channel. We'll see you guys next Wednesday. And remember, are you looking for love? Or are you just in love with the thought of being in love? Let that mull around in your brain. So we'll see you guys again next week. Good night. We love you. Peace and blessings.
Thank you.